Hey everyone, today we're comparing two very similar pens that are just worlds apart when it comes to price. On one side, we have the Jinhao 82, which will cost you around about £5 to £10 in the UK, or probably about 6 to 12 US dollars. On the other side, we've got the Sailor Pro Gear Slim, and depending on the colour that you go for, somewhere between 170 to £200, or 200 to 260 US dollars, there or thereabouts. Let's dive into the details and see what makes these two pens tick. At first glance, they both look quite similar, but there are a few key distinctions. Of course, the obvious one is branding. On the Sailor, you get the Sailor logo on the finial, and Sailor made in Japan around the cap band. Nothing on the finial for the Jinhao 82 and Jinhao on the cap band. The clip design, just show those both side by side, subtly different between the two, but both are comfortable. They're not too stiff, and they easily clip over a pocket or clip onto your notebook cover. When it comes to dimensions, they are very, very similar, but the Pro Gear is just a little bit thicker in the body, just a little bit heavier. It just gives it a bit more of a premium feel, and that's thanks to the thicker resin that this is made out of compared to the plastic of the Jinhao. On the flip side, the Jinhao 82 feels a little bit lighter and thinner, and that might be better feel for some people. Moving on to the grip of both pens, they do feel quite similar in hand. Just compare the grip section very, very close up. You'll probably notice a little bit more of a lip on the Sailor Pro Gear. It is very, very subtle. Not really much in it. Both feel very, very similar in hand and write very, very similar. Both comfortable to write with for long periods of time. So another difference is the threads. Just showing those as close up as I can on camera. There we go. So the threads are just a little bit wider on the Jinhao versus the Sailor. And if we do the old test of how many turns to put the cap on or off, it's 1 turn, 2 turns, and a little bit. 1 turn, 2 turns, just under 2 turns. So really not much in it between those. Coming back to these threads here, it's just the quality of engineering and machining, I think, in terms of build quality. You can also see this in the seams. If I give you a real close-up and just, if I can find the edge of the seam here with my nail, probably hear it making a little bit of a noise. That is very, very minor and very, very subtle on the Pro Gear. On the Jinhao, it is a little bit more noticeable, so a little bit more pronounced. And if I can get some light on that, you'll just see it in the middle of a shot there. When this is all cut from one piece, the section cut out here should be the same diameter as the saw blade used, so that when you put it together, you end up with a seamless seam, pun intended, going straight through the nib section and through the threads. You don't get this with the Jinhao, which means that either when this is put together, the converter cartridge adapter that's added on doesn't quite align when screwed back in, or the width of what's been cut out here is slightly different to the width that has actually been added back in. Not sure which one it is there, but on close examination, Jinhao rolling away. On close examination, if I can get this in focus and show you the seam as well, just here, just goes straight the way through, and that's it's real attention to detail from Sailor. If I strip them down further, both pens are cartridge converter pens, so no real difference there, other than, again, the size of the threads. Just precision engineering from Sailor, a little bit bigger and rougher on the threads. From Jinhao, we do have O-rings on there. I think if you're going to eyedropper one of these, you'd probably have more successful results with the bigger O-ring that's on the Jinhao. If anyone's tried that, do let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to see whether that has worked successfully for you. Converters, not much to say about the converters other than the Sailor converter can be disassembled. You can unscrew this bit here to clean all of the inside. You can't on the Jinhao. And then onto the nibs. You've got a 14 karat gold Sailor nib. This one's a medium fine. And we have a fine steel nib on the Jinhao with some gold plating towards the tip. The feeds are a little bit more substantial on the Sailor, but really not much difference there. So let's put them back together.
A few moments later.
So let's just do a quick writing sample with Jinhao. Jinhao 82. Some upstrokes, some downstrokes. Sorry, the focus is all over the place. To the left and to the right. No real line variation, so to speak. You can see that is all very similar. Let's just do some loops. No skipping, no issues at all. And then just a quick wetness test. Not super wet, but not particularly dry either. Now we've got the Sailor Pro gear. Now the big difference that we might find with these two is that the Jinhao has just been cleaned and re-inked. So there may be a slight bit of line variation here that's not just the medium fine versus fine. Let me add fine onto that one as well, just for future reference. Some ups, some downs, to the left, to the right, and some squiggles. No skipping, no issues whatsoever, but ultimately no line variation between each of those pens. And then if we just do the wetness, maybe a little bit wetter there on that test from the Sailor, but really not much in it at all. So they write pretty much the same on a fine nib versus medium fine nib. If you are moving from one to the other, you may want to step up a nib size on the Sailor. So are these two pens worth the difference in price? Well, honestly, after trying both, I can say that I bought the Jinhao to experiment with this style of pen. After using it and really enjoying it, I actually fell in love with the limited edition Snow Camellia or Winter Camellia Sailor Pro gear. But even though I love the Sailor, I'm not sure that I can say that it's 15 to 20 times better than the Jinhao. You are paying for the premium brand, build quality, and the gold nib when it comes down to it. If you own either of these pens, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos, and I will see you next time.